Well, it's Wednesday and you join me here in the wood for Woolly Hats Wednesday WIP. And I hope you're having a lovely week. We're having a lovely time here in the wood, appreciating the sunshine, listening to one or two birds, this lovely little wren we've seen, and doing a little bit of work. So, what have I been up to knitting and crocheting? Well, as you might remember, I am knitting myself a lovely jumper using this lovely wool from Wensleydale Longwool up in Yorkshire, and it's got lovely sheen and it's lovely and soft, and that's the bag, so I'm doing quite nicely. So it says knit to 60 centimetres or adjust, which means that you can knit it however long or short you want, which is quite a good idea to accommodate or to fit directly to your body or your friend's body if you're knitting something for your friend. So the way I usually do that is I get a garment that to decide how long I want it, that I like the fit of, and then I measure it with a tape measure, and then I knit to that length. I find it very difficult to measure from a shoulder down to the waist, even with a helpful pair of hands from somebody else. It's much easier to do it on another garment. So that's what I should be doing. So I'm nearly there. That's nearly 60 centimetres. I think I'll be stopping around 60 centimetres. That's usually enough for me. And then I'm ready to do the front, which has a bit of a pattern on it, so that's a bit more challenging, and I might have to pay attention when I'm doing that. So that was that. So West Yorkshire's been, Wensleydale Longwool is a Yorkshire wool, and on the 1st of August it was Yorkshire Day, and there are lots of very lovely Yorkshire wools around, including West Yorkshire Spinners, and Rowan, of course, is a Yorkshire company, and a lot of things like Serdar originated in Yorkshire, carrying on the long tradition of yarny stuff. So Bradford was good for weaving and spinning. Leeds used to do a lot of tailoring, and in Dentdale used to have the terrible knitters of Dent. Now, terrible was the Victorian or Edwardian expression for people who did a lot of things, or they were doing a massive amount. So a terrible knitter of Dent was somebody who knitted a lot, and they knitted to raise money, because they, of course, in those days they didn't knit as a hobby. It was to raise money, and knitted socks and hats. And there's some very interesting patterns that are still available, so you could knit those if you wanted to. Anyway, enough of Yorkshire knitting and yarn, and moving on to things of the present day. So tomorrow is Granny Square Day, and Granny Square is a great way of using up your stash. In the traditional Granny Square, you use the little bits of yarn that you're left over from doing jumpers and things like that, a bit like quilt making. Obviously nowadays there's lots of fantastic designs using really interesting colours, but perhaps you could show us your favourite Granny Square, or even something you've made out of Granny Squares, because Granny Squares are in, aren't they, at the moment? You can see Granny Square cardigans and jumpers and bags and everything else. So anyway, Granny Square Day tomorrow. Another date for the diary, which I've mentioned to you before, is the 17th, which is next Saturday. There's the pop-up yarn show at Hume Hall in Port Sunlight, and that's a lovely little show, lots of interesting little stalls and things around there, so do pop along if you can. And just a reminder that booking is now open for my courses, and they're booking up fast, so if you want to come along, please get in contact with me. I've got Learn to Crochet starting on the 3rd of October, both afternoon and evening classes, and I've got a Learn to Knit workshop on the 12th of October, and I've got Tunisian crochet in November, and also Next Steps in Crochet in November. I've got some of the details on the Facebook site. I'll be putting more up this week, so please do get in contact with me if you wish to join in. Anyway, I shall stop now, because Mr. W is valiantly holding up the phone, and I think by the way that the phone is moving around, his arms are aching a bit. So I will stop now. I wish you a wonderful week, and I'll see you next Wednesday. Bye for now.